Today's fellow fasting foodie friend has been fasting since fall 2020. In that time, she's lost about 15 pounds, and she currently follows a 16-8 schedule. She is a 58-year-old U.S. Navy veteran that lives in Michigan. Today's guest is Kim Lydy. Welcome, Kim.
Good morning.
So people might think Lydy sounds familiar. And that's because, drum roll, she's married to my dad.
Woohoo! Team Kirk.
Team Kirk, daughter and wife.
Exactly.
He might not know it, but we might start spilling his secrets.
I love it.
So I'm very excited to have you on the podcast today. And I think it's going to be fun because you have a slightly different story than a lot of fasters.
I do. I definitely do.
So can you share with everyone what made you come to fasting? Because it was not weight loss.
It was not. So you had started talking to Dad and I about fasting when you'd first started the journey. And somewhere in that conversation, I don't remember how you kind of mentioned about the acid reflux and it might help that, and I thought that makes sense. Losing abdominal fat, would kind of help with the digestive process. I had struggled with that for 10 years. I'd had 2 scopes. I'd been on 5 different medications, which the news coming out was starting to say that a lot of these long-term omeprazole type medicines were causing kidney problems for people. So I was really concerned with, how long am I going to be on medicine forever? Am I hurting my body? So I would try anything. So I'm like, let's try this. I'm going to get on this journey. And it's been a game changer.
That's awesome.
We started September right after Labor Day. And by the following April, I went off my meds and I've never looked back.
That
After
is
10
amazing.
Years. I know.
That is really kind of unbelievable. And I love that, Dad and I both came for weight loss, but you got to approach it from a totally different perspective and all of us find success.
I did.
Now, did you read Fast, Feast, Repeat?
I did not, because Dad and I would be like laying in bed together and he would read and share with me. And we did listen to some podcasts, and he would just kind of share with me. But we just had the one book and I let him I wanted him to be, I'm a reader, he's not, and I liked his passion for it. So I wanted to let him kind of delve in and then share with me and
I love that.
Let it be kind of a real experience for him. Because I think if I was trying to lose weight and had struggled with that, I probably would have been a little more into that. But I just really thought, you just tell me what to do, I'm going to do it because I want to have these health benefits. And so I just was his student. I let him be the teacher.
That's awesome. And Dad probably loved that.
Totally loved it. For sure.
I think it's really awesome that, as you mentioned, you're a reader, but he's not a reader, and that he took it to heart and started the journey for both of you guys. But the reason that I asked that question is I don't have acid reflux, but I think I remember reading about that being a potential benefit in the book. And I love that you found those results. So do you think that it made it easier for Dad and you to both be fasters, even if you were coming at it from different angles?
Absolutely, because with the fasting, it wasn't about what we were eating. It's only about when we eat. So there wasn't any sacrifice on either of our parts, where if you're maybe doing a diet together and one likes this and one doesn't like that, like Dad's a big meat person, I am not. Yeah. So we didn't have to alter how we cook or how we, shop for groceries or what we fix for meals, because we could still eat the things that we're both liking to eat. We did just line up our window, which worked out because we were on the same shift. So that was okay. But no, the fact that we had different reasons for it, not at all. Because I did lose weight and I did need to. Menopause gives you that meno belly, they call it. So I had started that spread and it was not comfortable. I'm kind of built really short-waisted. And so extra belly fat was not good for my body anyway. So the pounds I lost was very much appreciated, but the benefit with the acid reflux healing, that was the big thing.
That's awesome. And if I'm remembering right, you've never had, you mentioned you've never dieted in the past or had to deal with that. So having this solution around menopause was great, but am I remembering that maybe it was going too far and you had to shift your window to accommodate not losing too much weight?
I did. I've always, you hear people talk about their metabolism. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I've always been really tall and thin, and I've never ever had to worry about my weight. I've just never had to. And it was like, all of a sudden I started fasting, and I remember people even at work saying, "Wow, Kim, you're losing a lot of weight there. Wow." And it was kind of almost like an insult, like it didn't feel like flattering at all. And I could feel it. I could really feel like everything from bras to jeans, nothing was fitting. And I thought, and as you age, stuff isn't really very firm anymore. And I just kind of was thinking, I'm not so sure I really want to look this thin. So maybe I'm going to open it up a little bit. So I did. Instead of a 6-hour eating window, I opened it to an 8-hour. And I have found, and I'll fluctuate with that. Still, sometimes it can be 6, like on weekends or whatever, but that seems to work for my body the best. I have not, my weight hasn't changed 1 minute since I made that switch. It's just hovering right there where I'm very comfortable. All my blood work and my physical this year was perfect. So I seem to have found my zone.
That's awesome. So you found, probably opposite of a lot of people, because you went from 18.6 to 16.8 to be able to maintain it and not lose more.
Yep, exactly.
I think it's really important for people to hear it from the other side, because, I've adjusted to not gain weight, but there are times where you want the health benefits, but you don't want to keep losing weight.
Right. Exactly. And I don't know, like maybe I wasn't eating the right things. Like I said, I'm not a big meat person. I don't eat a lot of because even that I was concerned. I thought, again, with aging, I want to be really tuned into muscle loss and bone loss. So I've added more protein rich things, more calcium rich things, just to make sure I'm getting those nutrients still, because I think sometimes too with fasting, we tend to, okay, my window's open, I can eat whatever I want. We want to eat all the naughty things or the whatever, but it's like, no, I kind of need to still be a grown up and make good choices. And I think maybe back when we started, I wasn't making the best choices. So maybe the weight loss was because I wasn't eating really sustaining type things when I opened my window. So I've tried to be more conscious of that now.
One thing I hear often is people worry about, I eat all the things when my eating window opens. Did you find that behavior was kind of like it naturally morphed into like, oh, I want to feel better? Or, I realize that when I open my eating window with anything that sounds delicious, I'm not going to feel good. Was that an easy behavior to kind of naturally adopt?
My body was, some days screamed at me, I want broccoli, or, it was like, some of it was a conscientious decision to say, I'm going to eat healthier. I'm not going to open my window and just eat garbage, because there are days where we definitely have garbage days. But and we both have said that, that definitely our bodies do not like that. So I just became, if fasting, besides helping my reflux, it made me more conscious of, what am I feeding my body? Am I eating just for oral pleasure, or am I really feeding my body for strength and for, health? So I found that those were the things that I was hungry for when it came time to eat. And my shopping changed everything. It was like, that doesn't even sound good anymore. I didn't want this or that. I wanted these better foods. And it's great because I didn't have to make that choice. It just made it for me.
Yep. And I 100% think that most people find that. And I still like a lot of garbage food, but with an eating window, I only have so much time, so much hunger. And then it starts to like you said, there are days where my body is like, I want asparagus or Brussels sprouts, or cauliflower, fresh cauliflower is something I'm lately very drawn to. And when I eat that and I'm drawn to that, there's just less room. I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase, you crowd out the bad stuff. It's kind of what it does. And it's so much easier to not overindulge on the bad things, which I still obviously eat, but by eating the things that my body's drawn to, I just have less room for it.
Absolutely. Exactly. It's kind of like that. You're going, okay, I've only got this window. I don't want to waste it on this junk that's going to just make me, sluggish or hungrier later or whatever. You're kind of like, I want to eat these good things. And it's amazing to me how you've heard that, we eat more because we're thinking that we want this or that than what our body really needs or wants. And that came to the full front when we started fasting. It's like, I love sweets. I've always been a sweet tooth, but now I still want a little sugar after dinner. I want a cookie or cake. I want something sweet. I like dessert, but that is the last thing I'm thinking of, because it's like, I want that food. I want to fill up, and I want to really kind of get that sustaining, and like I said, the change just kind of made it for me. It wasn't I actually rebelled against it. It's like, I want my coffee creamer, and it was just like, my body was like, no, we don't like it. Stop doing this to us. And okay, I'll listen. You're making me healthy, so I'll do this.
So on that note, can you explain what you do have while you're fasting? It sounds like you kicked the creamer.
I did. So right away we started the black coffee, which I started black coffee in the Navy, and that was fine. I don't even remember when I started using cream. Maybe when all the flavored creamers came out, it became the rage, and I just jumped on that train. But black coffee all morning long until I get to my job. Dad and I work second shift, so we start in the late afternoon. I'll open my window at work, and it's always something real heavy protein, and then my dinner, and then some kind of dessert. But it's usually just black coffee, sometimes hot or iced tea, and then water. I stopped doing pop a long time ago because of the acid reflux. And once in a while, I might have like a root beer float or something, but and it doesn't bother me anymore, which is so awesome. But yeah, that's how it's coffee until the window opens. And then usually just water, or like I said, if it's chilly out, sometimes I'll have hot tea in the evening or whatever, but that's it.
This video is sponsored by Element. I have so much fun mixing Element with a variety of drinks in my eating window. It's almost a game. What's the next delicious combination I can come up with? Here are some of my favorites. My absolute most frequent and day-to-day go-to is adding a fruity flavored Element with a sparkling water. I love so many combinations, and what I do most frequently is the lime bubbly from Panera mixed with watermelon Element. It's my staple go-to, very refreshing, delicious, and I know it's good for me. Another really fun way to add Element is to use it as your salt rim and a mix-in for a margarita. Not only do you get the 1,000 milligrams of sodium as your rim and the salty to the tequila, you get the 200 milligrams potassium and the 60 milligrams magnesium and the delicious flavor as part of your margarita. It's a really fun way to add Element into a cocktail or two, maybe this holiday season. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single-serve packets free with any Element order. This is a great way to try all 8 flavors or share Element with a salty friend. Get yours at drinkelement.com/fastingfoodie. This deal is available only through my link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/fastingfoodie. Thank you so much to Element for sponsoring this video.
Is it the bubbles of pop that hurts or like irritates the acid reflux?
I always thought that's probably what it was, but then I got to thinking later, I found one of my biggest triggers was sugar. So it could actually be, and I never really could care for diet pop. Yeah. So I wonder so much if it's because I used to drink beer. But I liked beer, and I don't ever anymore because I thought it was the bubbles. So I stopped drinking beer and just would drink wine if I wanted something to drink. And the wine never bothers me. So it could be the carbonation. I don't know. It could be the sugar too. So and lemonade, stuff like that. I don't know. Like I said, my body's like, I don't need all this sugar. If I'm going to, like Mother's Day, we went to a buffet with Grandma, and I wanted the sugar in my desserts. I didn't want to drink my sugar. Right. You know what I mean? It's like I'm going to still make those choices of what I'm going to take in and where. So it's always just water, coffee, tea.
Can you drink the bubbly water is what I was wondering. I know Dad likes those. Me too.
I kind of don't really care for it. No, okay. I'll drink it, but I kind of feel like I get kind of like gassy, kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So no, not too much.
Okay. No water.
No,
no bubbly water.
No bubbly water. No.
So are you currently fasting right now? That's usually the first question I ask. I kind of skipped.
Yes, I am.
Do you have anything super fun you're looking forward to in your eating window today?
Trying to think of what today is. I don't think so. I don't really have a plan. I mean, I normally, when we get to work, Dad's always there an hour before I have to start. So I sit in the car and I read, and I always do nuts. We buy this big thing of mixed nuts at Aldi, and then we add pistachios and we add macadamia nuts. So I've got this bowl of just oh my gosh, delicious. And that's almost always, or cheese sticks, something I can eat in a car. So I kind of usually do that kind of stuff. But today I am doing veggies. I told Dad I'm ready for summer food. I'm tired of the winter comfort food. So I bought all the veggies, and I bought Aldi has this dill dip that is to die for. So I'm going to be cutting all those up today before work, and that's going to be my start. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of excited about all that crunchy goodness. That's how we're going to open today.
I honestly think that's why I'm so drawn to the cauliflower, because I've been roasting so many vegetables, and I love roasted vegetables, but I think I'm ready. Like, I'm so sick of having to eat warm foods to feel warm. So I want the crunchy cold. So I'm right with you.
Exactly. I told Dad, I'm like, I want salads, I want subs, I want veggies. I'm ready for like that summery stuff. So, and berries. I bought a bunch of berries and fruit. So I just, I'm ready for summer food, the cold foods. My mom used to call it wet food. I need wet food. Like, stuff that's kind of, not hot and salty and dry. I'm kind of over that. So
yeah. Well, if you're looking for a new window opener that's high in protein, my absolute favorite, and maybe you've seen it, is cottage cheese with pistachios and pepitas and black pepper. It's just so good, and it's very refreshing. And it's I have ate less of it over the winter because it's like a wet, cold dish. But it's so delicious. If you like pistachios or the cheese, it's so good together.
I love the cottage cheese. I've been doing that almost every day. And I know, so when you say pistachios, just put the actual nuts in there?
Yeah, I just put, I like salt and pepper or the flavored ones. And I put salt and pepper, pistachios and the pepitas on top of cottage cheese and lots of black pepper, just because I love black pepper. Okay. And it has all the textures. It's super creamy, crunchy, very refreshing.
Okay, yum. Thank you.
Yeah. It's kind of addicting though. So
that's all right. As long as it's in my window, I don't care.
Perfect. So you mentioned that you are a sweets lover. Is that pretty much every day you have something sweet to close the window?
So, full disclosure, I was a smoker for way too many years. And so when I quit smoking, that after dinner cigarette was replaced by after dinner sugar. There had to be there. And it's probably a mental thing. I'm sure it's not a physical thing at all, but it's just never gone away. So I will really struggle if there is not something sweet following my dinner or my main meal. I'm a diehard there. So there has to be, it can be a coffee with creamer, like a sweet coffee. It can be, but I prefer like some kind of dessert. So there are always some kind of cookies, or I'll make cake or pie. There's something sweet in the house at all times because it has to happen. There's even been, Aldi has this granola with, coconut and chia in it that I absolutely love. It's a cereal, and I'll have that with almond milk, and that's like a dessert to me. It's still sweet, but it's crunchy, and so that can sometimes be my closer at the end of the day too. But there has to be something sweet every day.
I love that. And in my glucose testing and all my research, it's much better when you do it right after your dinner than just having it on its own. So no guilt. Enjoy it, Kim.
Thank you.
I'm with you. I love all these cinnamon raisin granola with the vanilla almond milk. It is like the perfect window closer. And again, to me, it's more of a summer thing because it's very refreshing and the cold milk and I might have to have that today. It sounds really good. And I have everything for it.
See, exactly. And it's like, and I feel like it's still a healthy choice, but that little sugar thing that I just need, delicious.
One thing that you've mentioned is, I get bios from everyone I interview, but of course I knew this. You and Dad love to camp and you like to do the kayaking, biking, hiking while you're camping. How do you prefer to do all those physical activities? Does it matter to you if it's fasted or if you've already ate?
Nope. We still when we camp, we still stay very stringent. So, one of the things that was I was never a big breakfast person, but when you camp, especially, that seemed to always be a norm. People would make this big breakfast because that would get you through the day. Then you'd snack midday before dinner where you grill over the fire, whatever. And Dad and I don't do breakfast. So we started having breakfast for dinner once a week, usually. So when we go camping, there's no breakfast, there's no snacks or whatever. We kind of shift our window time frame. So sometimes, especially if we're camping with other people, we'll have snacks like late afternoon, start with chips and salsa or something like that as we segue into our dinner. And then, but no, we really don't do anything different. When we go kayaking, we just make sure we usually have our coffees with us, and then we bring bottles of water to continue after that, to kind of maintain our timeline of fasting before we open our window. And we're really usually pretty stringent. The only time we broke the rules is when we did our cruise. The cruise was just something where we said, you know what, this is our once a year vacation. Anything goes. And the irony of it was, so we gave ourselves free reign to have no window, to just do what we want. And you find that you still just kind of make better choices, or you're 100%. It was crazy. We go to this beautiful buffet on this ship with everything you can imagine, and I'm picking hard-boiled eggs and yogurt with granola and fresh fruit. So even though I'm opening my window to really a non-window per se, we made healthier choices. We were just more body conscious, and we didn't really go too far off. I think we gave ourselves an 8 hour every day to try to kind of stay in that window. But, it's just kind of, we normally, when we're camping or whatever, we stay within our regime, but that was our one time we broke the rules.
I would imagine, because you've had us camp with you before, and my husband Matt has said, can you imagine all the work that goes into it? And I just remember specifically all of the veggies and fruit that you had prepped to go camping. And I would imagine there's slightly less prep to go camping now.
It is ridiculous. It's so crazy because that's what I said. We've got this camper now with this almost full-size fridge, and we go camping and it's empty. I mean, it used to be where we have, I bought little tension rods to put across the shelves in the fridge to keep everything in there. So when you're driving, it's not falling out,
That's funny.
And then we'd have a cooler with things. And now it's no.
Now you get to just enjoy camping.
Exactly. We bring, dinner stuff is in there, but there's no eggs and bacon and milk and orange juice. There's just not all that stuff. And it's a lot of snacks because we sit around the fire. We'll eat pistachios, so we'll bring that. We always have chips and salsa, but I'll still bring some of that meat and cheese. We'll do that as we're preparing dinners. That's kind of our lead in. Usually it's protein kind of stuff, but the fridge, it's ridiculous. It's empty. We don't even need it. It's just kind of funny. Even our fridge here at home, it's amazing how we buy for just what we see, and we think, oh,
that looks fun.
Yeah. And so you pack it full. You're like, when are we eating all this? I have no idea. And our grocery bill has literally gone in half because again, when you're just making a dinner and having a snack lead in and a dessert versus all the breakfast, lunch, dinners, 3 times a day, literally cut in half. So that was kind of awesome. Yeah.
I want to back up to the cruise. I love what you said as far as, even though you gave yourself permission, your habits had changed. So it wasn't, Wild West. And even if it was, I have found I've gone on vacation the same way. And I remember I told Matt, I'm not going to fast. I'm going to have whatever eating windows. But I'd get to breakfast and I'd be like, I don't really feel like breaking my fast for that. And that's why I preach, don't focus on dieting and exercising and this and that. If you learn to fast, you're going to naturally develop these better habits just through getting really good at fasting. And then you can add anything you want, but that's a perfect example of that. You guys went on this cruise, and I hope to go on one someday too. And even if there's drinks galore and buffets and whatever, it's just not going to always sound appealing. And even if you go overboard, you're going to compare how that feels to how good you feel while you're fasting. And that's still going to shape behaviors.
It totally does that. So Dad's birthday, my precious little brother who, loves Dad, wanted to take him out for breakfast for his birthday because we work second shift. We don't ever get to do dinners with people. So, okay, and I said to Dad, you don't have to do this for him. This is our lifestyle and this is what we do. And everyone knows that. And my brother knew that. He goes, would there be any chance that Kirk would be interested? And I said, let me ask him. And Dad was gracious and said, fine, let's go. So we did. And it was so funny because we came home and half the day we were like, we just felt so sluggish and yucky. And it was the first time we'd done that in almost 2.5 years. And we both were just like, this is just, our bodies don't like this. And it's so crazy how, we've heard people say, oh, I could never do the fasting. I have, breakfast is the most important part of the day. And I'm like, because we were told that, or, is it really, because most of us are carrying enough to kind of get out of bed and burn off and keep us going. We really don't need to pound some bacon to get that happening for us. So we both just really, and that was just before the cruise when that happened. So even though we did the breakfast buffet quite often on the cruise, like I said, it was maybe a little later, going towards 11, 12, and it was just better choices. And so we kind of kept it light. And yeah, your body just is like, I don't want to have that. I don't want to do that to it. And if you try to cross the line, your body now will let you know, this isn't what we discussed. This isn't good for us. It's like, okay, I want to feel good more than I want to eat whatever that is, so we just kind of listen.
And then so much easier to follow listening to that than to say, Kim, you can't eat at the buffet until noon because you're not allowed to. Like,
absolutely,
which is going to be easier to maintain.
Exactly.
Feels good.
Exactly. You go there and you look at things and it was just like, it's the same thing. I would look at stuff and it's not like, oh, I want to get one of everything because I've paid for this, or it's,
right.
I literally now make choices based on what sounds like good, what sounds like what I want or need. And if I listen, I never walk away disappointed. When I cross the line of, well, I just want that. Well, I used to love this, or I'm paying for this, I'm going to get all of this I can. I usually will suffer for it later and go, why did I make these bad choices? So yeah, your body will tell you now. And Dad and I both were so shocked when that happened. He'd read that in the book that would happen. And I thought, oh, baloney. And when it happened, it was like, oh my goodness,
yay,
it's
me.
so true. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Are there any foods that you used to love that you find the longer you fast that maybe you don't like anymore?
I'm gonna say probably no. I'm trying to think. I've never been a picky eater. I kind of like everything. I just feel like now that maybe I've had to cut my portions down. I've always been a really fast eater, which might have been part of my digestive issues. So I try to, I don't eat as much. I find that my eyes are bigger than my stomach. So that's about the only thing that's really different, where I might make, have 2 sandwiches if we made like sloppy joes or something like that, or 2 hamburgers, or a hamburger and a hot dog, and I'm talking all this naughty stuff. But I've just noticed, even if we go out to eat, I'll order what I used to like, a steak and perch dinner, and half of it's always coming home. I definitely cannot eat as much. I eat about half of what I used to. But other than that, nope, I don't think there's anything that's really changed what I loved or didn't love or anything like that.
Awesome. Well, I think it would be fun to move into the fast food round, my personal favorite part of the podcast.
Okay.
And that's where I ask you rapid fire questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Kim, what is your absolute favorite drink?
Absolute favorite drink? Probably Chardonnay.
Okay. That's perfect.
I mean, I don't drink pop. I don't drink a lot of juices. Nothing like that. So if I'm going to, the one I look the most forward to is definitely a glass of Chardonnay at the end of a day or on a weekend. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Around the campfire, I'm imagining.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. What is your absolute favorite food?
Absolute favorite food? Anything seafood. That's my absolute favorite. If it's my birthday, Dad knows we're going to Red Lobster, because seafood is always going to be my very first dinner choice, or my absolute favorite thing. I just love all seafood. It doesn't even matter. I like everything.
Perfect. What is the weirdest food combination that you love?
Weirdest food combination. I don't think I have anything like that that's really weird that I can think of. I pretty much eat, gosh, it seems like I would, but no, nothing's popping into my head. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. You don't have to have a weird combination.
I'm not a weirdo, I guess.
Yeah, right.
I look who I married, right?
Yeah. Okay, does pineapple belong on pizza?
I know it doesn't. I know. I did not want to. I was going to lie because I didn't want you to be thinking.
And then I'd
but
bring
I
you
just
pineapple pizza.
I just can't do it. I've tried it. It's good.
I was gonna say, okay.
But yeah,
I was going to ask you, it sounds gross or you've actually tried it? So you've tried it, it's just not for you.
Right. No, I am very much not a food connoisseur. I'm not a food adventurer. I don't like a lot of spice. I don't like a lot of different flavors. It's almost like my mouth can only take in salt or sweet or sour. It's
Okay.
like it gets all sideways if I'm mixing up too many things. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot going on right here. And Dad's way more adventurous. And sometimes I have to just eat and nod my head like, this is good. But I'm really so basic. I am just bland probably is not. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I guess that goes along with not having any weird combinations. Then it makes sense.
Yeah. Kind of boring.
What's a food that most people love but you dislike?
Pineapple on pizza. Most people love that I dislike. I don't know. I guess maybe like I really don't dislike anything. I think I dislike liver, and I think everybody dislikes liver. So,
I think Dad said that too.
I think a lot of people just like meat, and it's always going to be my last choice. I'm never going to pick meat as my prime anything. And I think that we're mostly a society of meat lovers. So it would be nothing for me to go out to dinner or to make a dinner where I want my pasta, I want my mashed potatoes, I want that stuff, but I want all the vegetables and maybe even some rolls or, cornbread on the side. I want those things. Meat would be the last choice. So most people are like, what? You don't like meat? Bacon? No, I don't ever eat bacon. Forget it. So there, maybe that's it.
Bacon,
We are a society that loves bacon, and I don't ever need bacon in my life.
I said this on a previous podcast, but someone was like, or I read something, loving bacon is not a personality trait. Some people treat it that way. And I'm like, I might be one of those people. I do like bacon. Okay, final question of the fast food round. What would be your very last meal?
My very last meal?
If you could pick anything.
It's still going to be that. I want the lobster, the crab legs, the scallops, the shrimp. I want all that seafood.
Any carb with it? Cheddar Bay biscuits?
I mean, yeah, you're going to have those if you're at Red Lobster. And I still want, and it's so funny because when we do go there and have stuff like that, I still want that broccoli. But I have to have the broccoli. So there's always broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. Those are like the trifecta of vegetables for me, and I want all of them all the time. So give me a side of that with all the seafood. And yeah, I remember we went to Florida one year. I got like a pound or 2 pounds of crab legs, and we were with my brother, my sister-in-law, and dad. And dad, my sister-in-law were sitting next to my brother and I, who had the platters of crab legs. And he said that's the first time I ever scared him because I just did not talk. I had the bib on. I was, elbows deep in the butter and the crab legs, and I just was like going after it. And he just, oh wow.
Don't get between Kim and her crab legs.
Exactly like that. So that's my last meal. Give me the crab.
Does Dad like seafood?
He does.
Okay.
But he's always going to opt more for the steak.
Yeah.
So crab legs to him, it's just way too much work. He's like, no. He'll get a lobster tail, and he loves shrimp. We like to go to the Never Ending Shrimp or all you can eat shrimp at Red Lobster. So he does like seafood very much. We like salmon. We both like perch. So yeah, but he's always going to have that side of beef that, got to be, that's more predominant. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love the fast food round because I think it's fun to just hear different people's choices. And I'm imagining you'd finish your meal with Chardonnay.
Absolutely. Well, for sugar, so there's always going to have to be, and I literally, when I grocery shop, will plan. So there's a vanilla vanilla Swiss almond ice cream at Aldi. It's kind of emulates the Haagen-Dazs version that I always loved. And it's just vanilla ice cream with the vanilla beans in it, and then the chocolate covered almonds in there. And that's kind of a constant. But again, like the cereal or something. So there's always a dessert, and then I look at the clock and I'm like, okay, I'm good to go. Let's get my glass of wine. Sometimes not. Sometimes the wine, or maybe I'll take like some dark chocolate. Aldi has these bars of like 75, 80% dark chocolate, and I'll have a couple pieces of the dark chocolate with my wine, and I'm good there too.
That's awesome. Dark chocolate's actually something, when I asked if there were foods that you don't like anymore, I should have asked also, are there foods that you like now that you never did? Dark chocolate is something I just never have really liked it, but I like it more than I used to. And I think it's from fasting. It's just, I don't need as much of the cream or the sugar added to it to enjoy. And I'm not a big chocolate person, but
I'm not a big chocolate either. I mean, I've never liked milk chocolate. I've always liked white chocolate, but the dark chocolate, it started coming out to being more of a health thing. So I don't know, somebody just maybe thought, hey, we could market this if we make it healthy, but it seems that it's supposed to be good for you. But I do, the bitterness of it kind of, because I like really strong dark coffee, so I think it kind of emulates that. So, and it's better with red wine than the Chardonnay. So the Chardonnay is better with berries. So maybe I'll have berries instead. Like I'll get that little container of raspberries from Aldi and eat those with my wine. And it's like, okay, perfect.
Well, when you were giving your little wine lesson, it made me think of something, and I have to tell the story of Dad because I just find it hilarious. So we were at a wedding. And Kim has introduced wine to my dad, and he tries a sip and he asks, is this a wet wine or a dry wine? And Kim and I just cracked up. And I was like, okay, well, one, I'm not very good at differentiating between the two, but I know that all wine is wet.
Pretty much.
So I just was reminded of that as you.
Story. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'll never let Dad forget it. So now the whole world knows.
Don't ever. Exactly. I know it. It was the most precious thing ever. And I've tried so hard to turn him into a wine connoisseur so we could go wine tasting. Michigan has so many incredible vineyards and places to go. And he just, he can't do it. So it's like, oh, well, I'm like, babe, try it. It's a wet wine.
I just love that.
It's a very good story.
It was the best. I will never not laugh from that.
No.
Awesome, Kim. Well, is there anything that we didn't share that you want to share with maybe new fasters or encourage anyone on their journey?
I guess if I have to encourage, if I'm going to encourage somebody, because I talk to people at work about it. And I don't feel it's fair to talk to the fasting weight loss. Some of it's obvious. People noticed it at work, but that wasn't my journey. So I talked to why. And, I guess I want to encourage people on that I've heard people say, oh, I can't do it. I'm diabetic, or, usually that's the one where they think they can't. And I'm like, just kind of look into it, because I don't feel that intermittent fasting has really gotten as much of a plug for health benefits as it has for dietary. Right. And I really think it's there. I think because of the fact that Dad and I especially have learned to really communicate with our bodies, that speaks to health. That doesn't speak to dieting. So there's something that your body really likes about getting that rest from digesting food. And really the foods we eat today so much, especially in the United States, is so processed and everything. I think our bodies really celebrate when we give it a break from all the garbage that we can put in there. So it's just it'll really encourage you to have a unique experience with your health. I think if you take this journey and try to give your body a little bit of a break, and it will reward you with feeling better. You'll sleep better. You don't have that full feeling. Your joints will feel better because the inflammation is down. There's just so many health benefits. And that's what I'm going to always wave that banner about fasting, that I would want to encourage people to start for that reason.
I love it. And even if they do have weight to lose, it may not follow right away, but there's so much more than just that. And I love that you shared that. I came obviously for the weight loss, and anyone that's heard knows I like everything else that I've benefited, even the mental benefits, more than the weight loss, because there's been so much that fasting has given me beyond the weight loss. So I love that encouragement, Kim.
Thank you. And the one last little thing too is Dad and I noticed, and we read that in the book, and it's very true. When you're fasting, you're burning what you've got stored, and the energy is incredible.
Oh yeah.
So the minute you start putting food in your body starts processing that. So it takes away from your energy because now it's digesting food. We get up in the morning and we go, go, go. And it's not a push because your body's just naturally full of energy because it's burning all that, stuff that you've stored in there, and energy to the 10th degree. So people just need to know that that's another benefit that's coming their way if they take this journey.
Yep. As you've said, you can bike, hike, and kayak without eating your breakfast. Like, that's a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. We get up and we go golfing. We'll walk. We don't ever ride the cart. I mean, yeah. And here we are. We're both 58 years old. So, I mean, yeah, right?
Love it. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kim. It's really been fun.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And thanks for getting Dad and I on this path. We owe you a lot.
Don't tell him we made fun of you, though, or made fun of him.
I've already was getting the evil eyes through the doorway over there.
We've been caught. Well, have a good one, Kim.
Thank you, honey. You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.